Well, hello and welcome to the inaugural episode of the Chamber Connect podcast from the Huron Chamber of Commerce. My name is Colin Carmichael. I'm the executive director of the Huron Chamber, and I am joined today. I couldn't think of a better way to kick off a podcast than to have a podcast as my first guest. And so I'm very happy to welcome Phil and Ali from the Life That's Good podcast right here in Huron County to kick off what will be a regular way for the Huron Chamber to engage with our members, to tell some stories in a way that maybe don't work as well as written articles, that kind of thing. And so this will be an opportunity for the Huron Chamber to highlight our members, highlight resources that are available to our members, interview folks even from outside Huron County who might have relevant information to share with our members. And so so I'm really excited to launch this podcast, and I must say I feel a little self-conscious, guys, calling this a podcast in the same kind of virtual room with you folks who have a real podcast, and this is this little project of the Huron Chamber is just another way to deliver some a different kind of content, but probably with not the same production values and work that you guys put into your podcast. So why don't we jump right in then, and maybe if you could introduce yourselves and talk a bit about the podcast and how it came to be. Maybe is a good place to start.
Shall I?
I'm Ali. Hi. He's going to finish.
And I'm Phil. And the podcast started because I want to tell this succinctly. It was basically a way to write a love letter to Midwestern Ontario when it began for a career that I felt very lucky to have had in radio. So we decided to do 65 episodes, 65 weeks in a row before I turned 65. Just highlighting something that I loved about Midwestern Ontario and my work here. And obviously, being a Huron County boy and having been raised in Goderich, a lot of it ended up being around here because I do love this part of the world, maybe more than any other. Not maybe, for sure, more than any other. And when we got to the end of 65 episodes, it had kind of taken on a life of its own. And we had a lot of feedback from people saying, please don't stop now. We really like it. And so we thought, well, we really like it too. So we decided to keep it going. And we're somewhere over 100 and some episodes now. So it's been great.
Yeah, it's I know it's a must listen for lots of folks locally, and or at the very least a listen when you can, because of course it is busy. I know I struggle to get all of my various podcast episodes in every week or every month, and it really depends on the month, but. So of course, the Life That's Good podcast is a member of the Huron Chamber of Commerce, and that came about through your participation in the Summer Company Plus program. And so for those listening and watching at home, that's what I'm supposed to say, I think, right? The Huron Chamber of Commerce offers complimentary one-year memberships to participants in the Starter Company Plus and the Summer Company programs, both of which are offered by the Huron County Economic Development Department, and so we're really pleased to be able to offer that to those participants and help them kind of jumpstart their businesses at whatever stage they're at. So you guys were 2020. What year are we? 2024 participant or 20? I guess I went over the. But anyway, you're the last round. The last round of folks who went through the program included you, and so one of the other reasons that I thought you guys would be a great inaugural guest is that the applications for the next round of that program is open right now until July 31st, and so I thought it would be great to talk to someone who had been through it. So I was wondering if you could share any of your thoughts on that program, and how it helps you kind of develop perhaps from the business perspective of the podcast, or anything else that it helped you with?
Sure. So I think this was sort of I dragged him into it sort of thing. But I had actually done the Summer Company Plus in Orangeville as a teenager. Got my photography business off the ground and really enjoyed the mentorship element of it, and learning about the back end of business and having that accountability, I guess you'd say. So when I heard that Starter Company Plus was happening here, we knew a few folks who had been a part of previous rounds of it. And so asked some questions and talked to a few people about their experience and decided that, yeah, what the hell, like we apply. And yeah, kind of with the idea that Phil does so much of the editing and he just trying to wear all the hats between the two of us has been a challenge. So having any of that knowledge that we could, also the connecting element about other local businesses here and figuring out what works here and what doesn't. I am not a Huron County raised person, so
Bruce County. Boo.
we don't need to talk about that. Um, so I just wanted to know what worked for people and what didn't. And actually, we're still very much in touch with a lot of our like peers within the Starter Company Plus group. And I'm going to take away his pen.
She's trying to take my pen away. I'm a fidgeter.
So yeah, so I would have applied this time last year. And we started the actual training program in September, I believe it was. And that takes place over a series of weeks. We had different people come in and speak about their particular strengths, whether it was finance or small business or marketing, things like that, and also just basic financial and business things like how to become a sole proprietorship or partnership, and how to register your business, how to do the bookkeeping. Hint, it's not fun. But learned all of those, and we're actually provided templates or tools wherever applicable to use. So we were all kind of on the same level in approaching this. And for me anyway, it's the biggest value, aside from meeting a bunch of other people doing small business in Huron County, was the check-ins. We're from the beginning assigned like a mentor, and so there's regular check-ins via Zoom. We, I think, had a balance with our training classes of Zoom and in person, but the check-ins were over Zoom, and I just found it was really helpful to just sometimes throw things at my mentor, just like, okay, all of this is going on. This is what I'm thinking. A bit, blah, 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 blah. Help. And sometimes it'd be like, oh, I've been there. It's okay. Or someone in this area is actually doing what you're talking about. Maybe they could help you out. Or just like walking through something with me, especially when it came to the finances. Numbers are not my strength. So that was really, really helpful. And even though the Starter Company training ended in December, we still had monthly meetings with those mentors for the 6 months after, which was really helpful, I think, for the accountability piece, but also because you're at that point taking everything you learned and actually putting it into practice so you can see what works and what doesn't. and get some feedback about where you can tweak and how you can tweak things here and there. Yeah, and I never would have heard of the Chamber of Commerce before we did the program. So having yourself come in and talk to us, I think it was the first meeting that we had, kind of planted a seed. And then it was just looking at the resources that were available. And again, connecting with other people doing what we're doing, where we're doing it was really important.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that you hear, and certainly that I experienced when I started my business many years ago, and we talked about that recently. But there's no owner's manual, right? When you start a business, or when you take over a business, or with your first business. But there is, and the Starter Company Plus program like literally has an owner's manual. A Summer Company does as well. We just had the kickoff for Summer Company a couple weeks ago, and like you're literally handed an owner's manual. Here's your business owner's manual, and so it's a really valuable resource. And I think the Starter Company Plus name is a little misleading. I think because people often think it's for brand new businesses, but it's also for those businesses that are at a pivot point or some other, some stage in their business, where just that extra little bit of help and that mentorship that you talked about, right? And making those connections. So Phil, beyond the podcast, people may recognize the name Phil Main from
Heard it
around,
once or twice.
So maybe just kind of remind everyone, kind of who you are outside of outside of the podcast. Although the podcast and your kind of current stuff is kind of merged together, but maybe just talk a bit about that and what you've spent kind of your career doing the last couple decades here in Huron County.
Canceling buses.
Canceling buses. Yeah.
You're the guy.
And saying Conway Furniture, Highway 86, just east of Listowel. Yeah, just a radio guy. I was in the right place at the right time, I think, a long time ago, and ended up with a job that I thought I might be at for 2 or 3 years. And 40 years later, I was deciding maybe it was time to semi-retire. And I think that with radio and that radio career, it ended up being very much like the podcast in that, well, first of all, they relate really well. But I got the same thing out of it, which was a few surprises in that I learned to love the job and the people. We did the podcast as, I think we thought part of a job, but I think in the end, we ended up getting more out of it and still get more out of it than the people that we're interviewing. And that we're learning about people and loving people and we've made so many friends from the podcast just by having them come in to do an interview. And that's kind of an exciting way to live. So when we talk about a life that's good, we truly feel that we're blessed with a life that's good, especially to live around here and in Huron County. I don't think there's a better place in the world to live. And there aren't better people. I love the people here. So
yeah. Well,
radio,
I mean, it's one thing when you're born and raised here to feel that way, but for those of us like myself and like Ali, who are here by choice, and we feel much the same way, and about living and working in Huron County, and I mean really the Chamber's all about making this the best place to live and work, and so where can folks find the podcast and find you on the airwaves, Phil? Where do we find you?
So I'm doing a Saturday morning show right now for Shoreline Classics. It's just about to relocate the main studio here to Goderich, which is great. They also have a stick in Kincardine where they have had the studio for a number of years, and another one in Port Elgin. So it's all up and down the Shoreline. Best way to listen could be online or possibly with the iHeart Radio app, which is a really great thing that everybody should have. Yeah, just look that up. It's a real easy app, and the podcast is on that as well.
Excellent.
You can stick a Life That's Good into the Googler, and it will give you a dozen places where you can go listen.
Yeah.
We're on Spotify and Apple and all the
Wherever all the finest podcasts are found, right? That's where.
Indeed,
That's
and
where
ours
you'll
as
find it.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
also have a website, alifethat'sgood.ca, where we have all of our podcasts gathered there. If you don't feel like you trust the podcasting world, some folks are a little more comfortable with just a basic website. So they're on there, and we do try to put a little bit of information about the people that we're interviewing when we can as well. And yeah, I think Shoreline has 3 different radio frequencies.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, there's a different frequency in Port Elgin, Goderich, and
Yeah.
Kincardine.
Kincardine, yeah. Yeah, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Shoreline Classics is a member of the Huron Chamber of Commerce, and
Yeah. So I'm part of it twice.
very active and supportive member as well.
You have
So
to pay twice.
Yeah.
we're always always pleased when we can talk about our members even tangentially, which is great. So. Yeah. So again, thanks for coming on my little podcast to talk about your fancy podcast, and again, this hopefully this little project here will allow the chamber to reach perhaps some different folks or the same folks in a different way, and it's all about providing a variety of media, of different ways of reaching folks, because people are busy, and one of the things we talk about in the chamber network is that we're already talking about the busiest people in town most of the time when we're talking about our chamber members, and so we want to be respectful of their time, and not everyone is interested in reading the long form articles that I put on the website. So if we can do little bite-sized podcasts like this and other things, then that's good for everyone. So thanks so much to both of you for coming on the podcast and being our inaugural guests. And we will all look forward to the next episode of A Life That's Good.
Featuring Colin Carmichael, I might add.
Who's that guy?
A guy that we just bumped into the other day.
Good.
Good luck with this. I hope you have lots of fun with this, because
remember us when you're a big podcast.
Right. So, well, and sorry, and not to extend things, but you just kind of went back. Your most recent episode of Life That's Good was a reach back to your first episode, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
With Culbert.
Madeline.
So maybe in a couple of years, I'll be reaching out to you folks to do that callback episode to this first episode. Great, guys. All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Colin.